In 1994, Chicago police find a woman who's clearly been sexually assaulted and murdered and left in a dumpster. At the scene, the police talk to individuals who were nearby, but the crime goes unsolved for several months. A teenager comes into the police station trying to help his friend and says, I have information on who committed that murder. 4 boys, these teenagers. So the police bring these 4 individuals, including Terrill Swift and 3 others, into the police station. They don't tell their parents where they are. They're not given an opportunity to have an advocate in the room with them. And so ranging between the ages of 15 and 18, they're all interrogated for hours using these coercive methods, which include lies about evidence, which include, leniency promises to them. And all 4 of them sign confessions that detail this terrible rape and murder of this woman. All 4 of these boys, despite the fact that there was no evidence, physical evidence linking them to the crime, were all convicted based solely on their false confessions.
Police in the United States have been legally allowed to lie about evidence since Supreme Court 1969, Frazier versus Cupp. Most people don't know that. That means that most people being interviewed by law enforcement would perceive everything they are being told as truthful information. That's what makes it so powerful.
And I'm not bullshitting, I'm telling you the damn truth. I know what took place, I know what happened, I know you was there. You won't talk to me. I'm not gonna be able to keep you from the worst, Robert. If you don't talk to me, I can't keep you from the worst. Listen, there. Yeah, I'm dead, Robert, you were. You were there, the evidence shows you were there. The evidence shows you, I can't lie about the evidence.
Time after time, guilty subjects who have committed a crime, once they realize they're caught, they're incentivized to confess. The problem is, and what a lot of investigators didn't realize, and this took years of research to uncover, is that lying about evidence also incentivizes innocent people to confess. If somebody's being interrogated for hours, their primary goal is to get out of that interrogation room. And if they feel like the detective is going to do their job and is going to talk to a witness, get DNA and get a fingerprint, that means their confession doesn't really mean anything. So if they just say, you're right, I did it, that means they get to leave the room, assuming the investigator follows through on those 3 different items, which would then clear them because they're innocent, only to find out the detective didn't have DNA or fingerprints, there were no witness, all they had was a confession, and that person doesn't leave the room. In fact, they're put in handcuffs. And we know that about 30% of wrongful convictions contain false confessions, and one of the leading causes of false confessions is when police lie about evidence.
What can I say that I did to get me out of this? The only way you can get out of this is by talking the truth and saying you're part of it.
CWC co-director Laura Nyrider.
I'm joined at the podium today by Rebecca Brown, who is the policy director at the National Innocence Project, as well as Lauren Caseberg, who is the legal director at the Illinois Innocence Project.
In 2021, we were part of a team that helped to pass SB Senate Bill 2122, which we call the Juvenile Deception Bill. What that bill does is prevents the use of deception in the interrogation room with juveniles. The first person in the legislature who really stepped up and led this was Senator Robert Peters. If it weren't for him stepping up and being willing to put his neck out there on this as the first person, this bill would never have existed. And then we had Representative Justin Slaughter in the House who immediately came on board. And on this one, we really thought this is something that both Democrats and Republicans would support. So we reached out to first Senator John Curran, who is a Republican in the Senate, former prosecutor himself, Minority Republican leader Jim Durkin in the House, being a former prosecutor, and understanding the issues with these cases. We had support from the State's Attorneys Association of Illinois, as well as the Illinois Chiefs of Police. And so you have this group of stakeholders from every side you could come from supporting this. And our hope is that it'll be the first domino across the country, and that we'll see these reforms happen other places.
I've been extremely inspired by the collaboration of our law enforcement partners in Illinois and across the country that not only advocate for bills like this, but they want training, they want to do it the right way, and they're asking questions. How can we do this to protect innocent people, but still solve cases to protect our communities? The actual guilty perpetrator is out there continuing to create more victims, which is against anything law enforcement wants. And so they're recognized not only is this a dangerous tactic, but it also potentially could cause and allow more crime to occur. Detectives don't want that. Police don't want that. They're out there to try to do the right thing. They just need to know how to do it. And that's why legislation helps, and that's why training helps, to make sure we're giving them the tools so they can do the job effectively.
Now, like so many other exonerees, he remains a friend and a powerful advocate for reform. Terrill.
This bill, I truly believe, could have saved my life.
It was pretty much permeated with deception. They said, would you come to the station? I don't have a problem with it. I requested a lawyer. They denied me. I requested my mother. They said, no. You're grown. For what you did, you're dying in jail for what you did. You still have that thought that they're gonna do the right thing. And that ultimately led to me signing a false confession because I thought that they believed me. I didn't do this. What do you need me to do? Whatever you need me to do, I'll help you out. I was taken to Cook County Jail and I was processed, and I did not come home until May 3rd, 2010. I lost, my 15 and a half years, right? Pretty much my youth. That's why when the bill was introduced to me, I was compelled to tell my story because I feel like that bill could have saved my life. And I want to keep it moving. I want to go to every state until we get this thing passed, across the entire nation. So it's still work to be done.